So today's video is for all you golfers that feel like when they stand up to the golf ball, they're nicely set up, but they put a swing on it, and it's topped, it's thinned, occasionally it's that fat one, and when you do hit that good shot, it just kind of pops up in the air, doesn't really go anywhere. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to stay down and compress the golf ball like the best players in the world. So welcome down to a very, very cold Heron's Reach. It's -3, and that first one there stung. So I'm not going to plan on demonstrating too many more bad ones because no pain, no gain is not something that's good in the golf swing. Now, that first shot I hit, so many golfers hit that top one, thin it or pick it a little bit with their iron shots, and even the fairway woods to an extent. And they always feel that coming down into impact, like they're lifting up into the ball. And very often playing partners will say, you lifted there, that's why you topped it. So the first thing golfers tend to try and do is keep their head down. But then the problem becomes the shot is even worse. So first of all, let's talk about what causes the feeling of lifting through impact. So if we were to look down the line at the golf swing, what you see with most golfers is they stay fairly in posture on the way back, but on the way down, the hips move nearer to the golf ball. Now, if you're nearer to the golf ball, when you come in, we're not going to hit the middle of the club face, we're probably going to hit the hosel. And I know we've all been there and done that, but because you're closer to the golf ball, the first thing your brain's going to try and do is find the room. So we will stand up, the arms will have to kind of extend early, release the club early, and hopefully get the club face back to the golf ball. But it can be a massive issue if you're moving up and down, trying to find where the bottom of the arc is and the low point of the arc. So when you watch the best players in the world, what they all tend to do is they'll set up to the golf ball, make their swing, deal off the club, and you'll see them in very much this kind of impact position, and most importantly down the line, that kind of impact position. So you can see how that lead hip is actually moving back and away through impact, whereas most club golfers are doing the exact opposite. They're swinging back nicely, moving nearer to the golf ball and having to compensate on the way down. So one thing we need to do is we need to get the hips moving back away from the target. That we'll see there as my hip moves back. See how easy it is for me to maintain my posture and therefore get that club back down to the golf ball. So the way I'm going to get you to work on it is I want you to think about what your lead foot is doing in the downswing. So we know that we're going to shift our weight onto our lead foot, but I want you to then feel like you're going to try and slide the foot towards the golf ball that way. Now obviously because there's pressure on the foot, the friction with the ground, the foot's not going to go anywhere, but that left hip is going to move back through impact. So you get that feeling. And that feels like the left hip goes back, the left leg straightens, and like I said, it's created all that room to swing the hands and arms into. So once you can stand there, maybe take a little bit of speed out to begin with for the first one. And a very, very different strike, feeling much more of ball and then ground, but also, instead of my body moving up and my hips stopping, that one feels like my hips are much more out of the way. I know it sounds odd to think of your foot to move your hip, but if you stand there and just try and push the foot as hard as you can see how that hip moves backwards and rotates out of the way. And we all know if we can get that little bit more rotation on the way through, even if you're not the most flexible, it's going to help create some room, create some speed, and get that strike. And I'll be honest, it's something I struggle with, something I still have to work on to this day. But if you can create space in the downswing, if I were to aim at the camera, as I'm swinging down, if I'm moving nearer the golf ball, you can see there's a lot of extra compensations to get back. Whereas from there, shift left, try and push that foot that way. You can see how much more room there is here to then swing down into, and there's no extra manipulation of the club required. So like I said, you might do 2 or 3 where you take the speed out a little to begin with. And it will feel very different, and it'll feel really, really good through impact. But then you can stand up there, start to put some speed in. And not only are you creating more speed in the golf swing, you're also going to be presenting the club. Instead of being here and adding loft to the club, you're now going to be much more this way, de-lofting the golf club, adding ball speed, picking up distance, having more control. And when all your friends say, you know you're lifted, you think, right, I know what I need to do to stay down and compress the ball, try and slide that lead foot towards the golf ball, and it really will take your ball striking to a whole new level.